You know, I always feel silly when I start recording something. So basically, here I'm going to talk about Seraphine's abilities. We all know what they do, and we all know how to read, but I'm going to go over them anyway. Right? First, we have her passive here. Right? Basically, every ability she casts will echo, automatically cast a second time. I'm definitely not going to read them word for word because sometimes that text can be a little confusing. Right? But basically, every third ability is a double cast. Casting also creates notes. Notes give her extra range and damage, and each person can only hold 4 notes. Let me show this off. Right here, this is my other range, right? I cast a skill. Look at the other range. I cast another skill. Look at the other range. I cast another skill. Look at the other range. I can only hold 4 notes. So this is all I'll get alone. I will not get any more range than this alone. Right? But with more people around, they can also hold notes. As you see, I'm getting way more range, right? I should actually put another... Do I have another ally dummy? There we go. Yeah, this is some range. There's some range to call about. Now, once she has these stacks, right? She can go anywhere with them if she keeps casting. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can go anywhere with them. As long as you keep casting. Because the notes are already on them, so she can hold that note number on her own. Right? But if you want new notes, you're gonna need them. Now with this, obviously, you can attack from far away. Right? Now with a few spells, you can literally attack from outside of tower range. Right? It's not the most useful thing, but you know, being able to hit people from this far away can be really good for her because of her HP pool. It's really low. You see that range? It's a lot of range. To put into perspective, here's with just me, how much closer I have to be. The difference between like being here and there, it's huge. Okay, so we have her Q, right? Basically, it's a round skill shot. It's really big. As you see, it's super big. I should actually turn on quick cast, normal cast. Okay. Normal cast and apply. There we go. So yeah, her Q is really big. Can I have that? Does this work? No? Okay. There we go. Replace quick cast with quick cast. Okay, there we go. Now I can just hold it and release when I want to. So with her Q, it does what it says it does. Ignore the damage numbers. What's important is that it does more damage when they're below 25% health. And it's an increasing amount up to 25% health, right? So the lower their HP is, the more damage you'll do. It starts off at a 60%. And it goes up to 90% of her AP ratio, plus the number, obviously. But the number is variable based on level. Oh, look at that. And the AP ratio also changes. So I'm going to show it off here too, I guess. The first one did 170, the second one did 190. 213. That one had Dark Harvest stack. But if you notice, now that it's doing 258, right? It shows the crit marker to let you know that they're at the execute range. You cannot get any more damage than that because that's below 25%. Right? It's super slow. It's very slow. It's very slow. But, and you know, because it's slow, it'll miss often. But that doesn't matter because it goes super far. And the cooldown's relatively short. I have auto refresh on because I'm showing something off. But normally, there's what Normally it's around 4 seconds. Right, I have a bit of CDR here, so it's scuffed, but normally it's around 4 or 5 seconds or something like that. Anyway, you'll end up with CDR during your game anyway, so it's not a big deal. Oh, look at Avalon from this thing too. But yeah, whatever, you get to use a lot. So let's move on. Now, she has her W, which gives her a shield and some movement speed, right? Again, all these abilities double cast. So here's her shield. And it gives not only herself a shield, but it gives her allies shields, right? And they all get the same sort of movement speed. She gets a little more, right? At first, she gets a little more with the movement, like with the decaying ability. And afterwards, you can see her move speed right here. From 325, it goes to 395, and then it stops at 364. As she gets the same amount everyone else has. Now, when you double cast it, then she gets twice the amount, right? She also gets twice shield, but she also gets a heal. And the heal is not from literally double casting it. It's any time that she has a shield on her already, she will heal instead. Now, this heal amount is increased by more members being in the area. You can see under them, right, that they're part of the show, basically. That's what this little dance pad is, I guess. Right? So I'm going to show that off. Do I have auto health on? No, I don't. Good. So this is her heal. Alone. Pitiful, right? Because it's based off of their missing health, right? So it restores what at this level, this is well, like it restores a percent of their missing health, but it's multiplied by the amount of champions in the area. So you saw I got like 60 there or something, 30, some minuscule number. But here, as you see, that's a lot more. You can already tell. 344, and they all get healed by the same amount, right? It bounces off of them, everyone gets the same health, right? So it's increased by more people being in the area. Now, there's something important to note. When this skill is double cast, yeah, she gets more movement speed. Everyone gets more movement speed, double the amount, double the shield. So you know what she doesn't get? She does not proc the healing twice. She only procs the healing once, period. Right? If she's shielded, she procs it, and that's it. If she's already shielded when you double cast, you do not get 2 heals. Right? It's just like that. I don't know why. It's like that. Hey, let's move on to the, right? This is one of the special parts of her. I know the W is pretty special, the notes are pretty special, but this is something wild, right? This skill, it does damage, and it slows people by 99% for 1 second. Yeah, it's nothing special, right? But if they're already slowed, right, then they get rooted. As you see, it says rooted. So if someone else on your team slows them, or you have Glacial Augment, or the Spooky Ghost, or I should actually just buy the Spooky Ghost. Spook? Wait. Did they remove the Spooky Ghost? I guess they did. Let's grab the Everfrost then. Everfrost is what I'm looking for anyway. So Everfrost, if it's the center it suns, but on the side it slows instead. Right? I'm so used to playing with quick cast on. I can't, guys. Okay. You saw that rooted, right? So if for whatever reason they're already immobilized though, like let's say they're already rooted, right? this is tricky, right? So if they're already rooted, then they get stunned instead, right? Let's see. Here's a root. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay, so here's a root, and now he's stunned instead. But it's not if they're rooted; it's if they're immobilized, right? Immobilized is a special word. Basically, it's whenever you can't move the way you want to move, right? Being slow is not being immobilized because you can still go left, right, up, down, whatever. But if you're feared, if you're asleep, if you're charmed, like her ult, then you're stunned, right? Which means that if you do slow someone, so like it always basically levels it up, like the CC up by 1, right? So let's say that someone else slows somebody, but you have double cast, right? That means that you can stun them instead, which is huge. And if they're already slowed, then when you land that, it'll root, so the second E will connect every time, right? And if they're already rooted, they don't need to do anything except 1 E to stun them, or charmed, which is what her ult does. So thinking about the double cast like ahead of time is like super important. Like I can't even begin to. I guess I can show clips, explaining it on another video. But like this move got some, it has some decision making prowess in it, right? Now let's check the R. The R is silly. The R is silly. She basically projects a captivating force. So basically, it's a skill shot that charms, right? Any champions extend the range of it. It's easier to see. So basically, this is her skill. It's super slow, has a lot of cast time. Has a long cooldown, right? But it's pretty wide. If it goes through a champion, whether it's an ally or an enemy, the range gets refreshed. So here, let's grab an ally. Let's grab an enemy. So here's... You see that range? Do you see the difference? Can I get through the middle? Yeah, I can. Okay. So this is as far as it goes, right? But this is as far as it goes through someone. Because the range gets refreshed. So if you tip them, you can literally get twice the range, right? And if it's not tipped, whatever. The point is that it refreshes. And it does the same thing with enemies. Now, for those of you who haven't noticed, if it goes to an ally, they gain maximum notes, right? Which means you get the range immediately. Let's get some more allies in here. Pretty sure that will reach. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that will reach. It goes really far. You see that? Way out here. But it gets notes. You see our attack range? They all get maximum notes because the maximum is 4. Right? So they go straight to 4. So if they're already at 4, you don't get anything. But who cares? Because that's not the important part of this. It also goes through enemies, but it charms them instead. Charmed enemies walk towards you, so you gotta remember stuff like that when it comes time for Master Yi's and, you know, stuff that you don't really want near you. Let's clear some of these dummies, and I have a pink there, so let's line them up. Ally, enemy, ally. There's the showed off, right? Now, when a unit is charmed, like I was talking about earlier, right, they're considered immobilized because they have loss of control on their character, right? So you can root them with a single E. Right? So, like, it's so simple to me, right? But people have been, like, messing this stuff up and asking me about it. but you want to make sure like that before you do whatever move you're thinking of, that you already think of what you're gonna do, right? If someone's low, so you want to double cast, and you have barrier up, game one, and you're close to the total. Oh wow, okay, let's just surrender then restart it. I've been in this practice tool quite a bit before I started the video. It's cool. That's cool. That's because I'm about to move into talking about her combos anyway. That's fine. Anyway, you want to think about what you're going to do before you start pressing the buttons, right? Because you can't just, like, you don't always have access to double cast, right? You have to build up to it. So if you want double cast on E, training, there we go. If you want double cast on E because you want to root somebody, then you'll want to use Q and then W first if you just finished double casting. If you only have one ability, maybe you want to throw Q first. Maybe you want to throw W first because you won't need the shield and you're looking for maximum damage. I'm going to show all this off in a second. I'll remember that the next time I talk about the Seraphine subject. Right, there's a maximum practice tool time. It's an hour. You only get an hour before you have to reset it. That gives us the time to listen to music anyway. Instead of listening to music at the end, we'll listen to it now. This song's called White Lie. On a channel called Stream Beats by Harris-Seller. It's basically music that you can use when you're doing whatever you're doing as a content creator. It's nice. Okay, there we go. We're back. Let's get some levels. No, we don't need levels. Yeah, we need some levels. Let's get 6, because that's what we need to showcase this stuff. Now back to where we were. Let's get some enemies here. Okay, so you have your enemy in front of you, right? And they're all near you. You start every game off with the double cast up already, right? But let's say you don't, because we're out here playing. Oh, we're doing stuff anyway. So your teammate's being chased and he's low. What do you want? You want the double heal, right? Because you want to heal, so you want the double shield, right? So you'll throw your 2 abilities first before you press W. And as you know, you'll end up poking, and now you want W still, so you press another button first. Maybe you want to throw Q first because you want to save to have the root. Maybe you want to throw E first because you want to slow them first, and make sure the Q will hit afterwards because the 99% slow is really strong, right? And there's a lot to do. I'm definitely just gonna have to use examples in a later video. But let's see, is there anything else I want to cover? Let's talk about damage, right? I have items here, so the damage will be lacking. Her damage is low in general when compared to some of the other champs. It might not be low over the course of the fight, but it's lower as far as burst goes. But assuming that, let's say you want to land your own, right? You have options to go about that, right? Because I could talk about that here, yeah. So if you want to land your ult, maybe you want to make sure that you have the root. Because now they can't dodge it, right? And then you can land your guaranteed Q and auto. Maybe you want to actually turn this stuff off, okay. So let's do this from 0. So if you wanted to do something like, maybe you're more confident in your ult landing, right? So you open up with the ult instead, and then you follow with the other skill so that you get the double cast and they're lower when you cast. That way you get more damage off. There's so much, right? Anyway, you know what? I'm not even gonna dwell on too long. Instead, I'll just make I'll just make a video showcasing the little pieces afterwards. Right, because we've already been sitting here for 20 minutes. The important things you want to remember, though, when you're playing her is... you want to remember to use your R either in a place where they can't escape it, like somewhere like here. Whoops, thought I had it up. You want to use it somewhere like here. You can't dodge it in here. And choke out like this. Or you want to use it after another teammate has gone in. Because while they're walking away from him or whatever it may be, then you have free reign to do whatever you want. Right? You have, they're walking away from him, so they'll be hit by it. Let's spawn some allies. What's the short key? Shift N. Let's get some allies in here. Yeah. Now this will never need to happen. Right? You'll never need this much range. But oftentimes, you will need this much. For sure. You will do this all the time because you can target your ult over walls to hit people that are out of your range because she's such a squishy champ. And this is how you do it. Right? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to show examples. I'm hype actually. So that's all for now though. Right? Thanks for your time. These videos will probably all be re-recorded in a more easy to digest fashion without all my rambling at a later time when I'm with my buddy. He has a nice cam too. I'll look good on it. Yeah, that's all.